Hi, besties. So let's talk about this. Today, we'll be talking about something really interesting, and it's about is it better to study in Europe or in the US? Okay, I know that that is highly debatable, but yeah, I just want to bring to your notice some things that is worth comparing, right? And that will be useful for you if you're deciding on studying abroad. Okay, if you're coming across my video for the first time, my name is Jeanette, and I bring to you the tips and tricks of studying abroad. Yeah, most times I talk about admission process, I talk about the visa process, I talk about what you can do to gain admission, to get your visa, and also talk about what you can do to stay in the country where you are legally as a student, what you can do to make your life easier, basically. So, yeah, so today I would like us to look at the EU and the US. Most times, it's very common to see people from the US coming to study in Europe, and it's also common to see people from Europe going to study in the US, right? Yeah. So, but today, let's say that let's sit and look at the reasons together. Let's look at it together. What are the important reasons that we have to look at? Basically, number one is the savings on tuition. The truth is that studying in the US for international students often pays between 30,000 USD and 60,000 USD per year. Yeah, it can even be higher than that. In contrast, in the EU, you would find universities in Germany, France, or even in Estonia that offer public university education for under 3,000 euros per year. Yeah, 3,000 euros. Yeah. Sometimes they pay per semester in Europe, so it's possible that you find something of maybe 3,000 euros per semester. But even if it's this in this case, if you add up 3,000 euros per semester, 2 semesters, that's 6,000 euros. It's still way cheaper than going to pay 30,000 USD or maybe 40,000 USD in the US, right? And that is why it's not so uncommon for you to see somebody, for example, someone who was born in the US, come study in Europe, basically. Most times because it's cheap. It's just cheaper, way cheaper. And yeah, in Europe, it's less common to see students saying, I took a loan, a study loan to study. It's not so common in anyways, maybe some part of Europe it's common, maybe in the UK, because studying in the UK is expensive. But most countries apart from the UK, their school fee is not always cheap, and even public university you can always attend, basically. So it's way cheaper, and you can even save tons on your school fees. Or yeah, and you can use that money for other things, right? Number one, that's number one. Number two is the low cost of living and healthcare. The truth is that in major US cities like New York or even San Francisco, the rent can be crazy. But while in EU, the rent itself is not a lot, basically. It's not a lot. Even the dormitories is way cheaper if you want to stay in dormitory. But even if you want to, if you decide to rent an apartment outside, it's not that expensive as living in the US. Rent in the US is expensive. The truth is that even small cities in Europe like Tartu, Lyon, Valencia, these cities are way more comfortable and they are way cheaper, right? And about the health insurance, the truth is that most EU countries provide student health insurance for a small monthly fee or maybe a small quarterly fee. And the truth is that in the US, it's quite easy to run into medical debt than in the EU. Yeah. So that's that. Number two. That number three. In the US, they have this. They rely on this H1B lottery system, which currently has only about 25% selection rate. So even if you find a job, you might still be forced to leave the US after your study. So most EU countries, like maybe Germany, like Estonia, they offer like this guaranteed period. Remember in my last two videos, I did a video about how many months you have after studies to find a job. Yeah, I did two videos basically. I did one on six, the countries that give you 6 months or 9 months to find a job, and I did the one for the countries that give you 12 months and above to find a job, right? So in the EU, this is quite I don't want to use the word guaranteed, but yeah, it is guaranteed to some extent that you have like between 6 to 18 months, depending on the country that you are studying in, to find a job where you get the job seeking permit period after graduation. And for this, no lottery is required, basically. You would get it. Okay, then the third one, okay, the fourth one is travel and cultural mobility. The truth is that a student visa in one Schengen country is a golden ticket to 29 countries. So if you have a visa for just one EU country, apart from the UK, exclude the UK in this case, you can use that visa or that permit to travel to 29 other countries, basically, name it. So what this means is, the example, you are studying in Estonia, you can decide to go and spend your weekend in Italy. You can decide to go and spend your weekend in France. And it's not expensive. You can even use the bus, you can use the flight, you can use the train. It's not expensive. But in the US, you are mostly limited to one country. And often you need a car. Ask people in the US. If you have anybody in the US, so ask them. Most of them quickly they just have to gather money to get a car. You need a car to go to almost everywhere you want to go to. Yeah, but in the EU, most people don't even have cars. They should rely on public transport because it's some of them in some cities you don't even pay for public transport at all. In Tallinn, it's free. If you stay here, if you're a resident, it's free. So really, like it just depends on your choice. Though I know some people still want to go to the US. I'm not trying to convince you not to go, but I'm just trying to like make you see the difference between studying in the EU or studying in the US, how you can save money. Of course, remember that the main choice, the last choice still relies with you. Still have to decide yourself. I am not able to decide for you, but yeah, you have to compare these things, especially based on your budget, where you want to go, what you want to do. And yeah, the last one I'll be telling you about is faster degrees. Basically, most bachelor's degree in the EU takes 3 years, and many master's programs are only 1 year in the EU. In the US, this typically takes around 4 years and 2 years for your master's degree. So in EU, it's quite common to see a master's degree program that is 1 year. 1 year program, yeah. So, by choosing the EU, you actually enter the workforce earlier. You start making money earlier than someone that's studying in the US, basically. Yeah. So I hope that this is a good guide for you to decide where you want to focus on as a prospective international student. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel to learn more. If you have any questions, make sure to drop it in the comment section. Yeah, and like my video and share with your children, your siblings that you know they have plans of studying abroad. I hope that this video helps you and thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.